Aloha mai kako. Welcome to a new episode of What School You Went. Start every conversation with that question. I'm Ron Mizutani, and today we're talking about an organization that is focused on tomorrow's leaders. Since 2003, the Center for Tomorrow's Leaders, CTL, has been engaging, equipping, and empowering over 2,400 young leaders for Hawaiʻi. And that's just the tip of the iceberg. We're very pleased to welcome Megan Tasaki, a professional photographer, and I want to dive into that with you, Megan, and a student leadership facilitator with CTL. And she has so much more about her that I'm intrigued by. Aloha, Megan. Welcome to PBS Hawaiʻi.
Aloha. I'm so excited to be here.
Right on. Before we go any further, I'm not sure if you're familiar with this, but I do ask every guest, what school you went?
Yes. I was expecting that one. So I went to Hawaiʻi High School. I'm a Hilo girl. I just recently moved over to Oahu, so it's really different, but I'm loving it so far.
Waiakea, the Warriors.
Yes.
I'm a warrior too, but
you're a blue and white warrior.
I'm a blue and
also.
white warrior, but yeah, we still can be, brothers and sisters that way. I got to ask you this, and I seldom get a no, but please sing your alma mater for us.
Oh my gosh.
How about a verse?
I think it starts with as we sing to you, Waiakea High, and then I forget the rest.
That's good enough. Some people say, I forget. And then others
try to get out of it.
Yeah, they try to get out of it. No, I put you on the spot. But Hilo, love Hilo. You love Hilo. Hilo is Hilo, when you go there, I mean, the people are just amazing. I just feel like a real nice vibe. Do you still feel that at home?
Yeah. So I fly there every week because I teach on Big Island. So right now I am teaching at Waiakea and Keao. So I'm teaching at my alma mater for Center for Tomorrow's Leaders. And whenever I fly in, I just get this sense of like, I can take a deep breath again. Every time I'm at the Hilo airport and I just step out, I feel like the air is different. Mm-hmm. I'm home. And there's just something about Hilo that's unlike anywhere else in the world, really.
True story.
Yeah.
I feel that way too.
Yeah.
I feel that way about Kauai, but definitely when I get to Hilo and head to Ken's Pancake House, obviously, or other places that are must stops, all about food, right?
Right.
In Hilo.
Yeah.
I mean, so many places to grind and eat and stop by. And so much legacy and history and very rich history. Some of it, the tsunami. I mean, there's so much history there that we all need to remember.
Yeah.
How important is that to you? Your Hilo roots. And what instilled in you?
Oh, that's a really good question. So I actually haven't spent my entire life in Hilo. So I wasn't born and raised in Hilo. I was actually born in Honolulu. Okay. So originally my family's actually kind of based in Oahu. I mean, my Japanese side long time ago came to Big Island first. So I'd say my roots are really Big Island. But my dad was born and raised on Oahu. He went Damien. And my mom, she's actually from California. She came here for nursing school and they met. And so I was born here, but my parents, all of a sudden when I was 5 years old, they wanted to move to Oregon. Really random. And so we moved to Oregon. So I went to elementary school in Oregon, actually. And then we ended up moving back to Oahu eventually when I was like around 10, 11 years old. And then I was living back on Oahu, but I think my dad was kind of like, it's too busy here. Let's move to the Big Island. Let's just go. And so then from then on, I've been like, Hilo is my home. And so at first, though, it was actually really hard to get used to Hilo because I didn't really know. I was like, I don't know this place, there's really nothing to do. And then my heart just it just grew on me. And when I left for college, every single summer when I came back, I was like, oh my gosh, there's no place like Hilo. And so I think it was like kind of a slow process of just falling in love with that place. And now I'm for Hilo. I definitely want to end up there one day and give back to that community. And just because I feel like there needs to be more opportunity and the students that I teach there are so amazing. I just love that place.
Yeah. I have many good friends from Hilo and, I joke around with them because, the rain and everything. And Hilo people are resilient. They really are. And they're different. And it's most neighbor island kids who grew up or on our neighbor islands really are different. But Hilo kids are very different that way. And I can see that in you. Even though you got there a little bit later in your childhood, it definitely left it's marking you.
Yeah.
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 I'm going to get into the CTL experience because that is a full-time job, if you will, now. But before that, you picked up a camera and fell in love with that as well.
Yes.
What was that? What inspired you? What was that about?
So I remember when I was little, I would always see my dad with a camera. My dad never did photography professionally, but it was always his hobby. So I would always just watch my dad with his camera in his hand. And I don't know, something just sparked in me when I was 8 years old. I was like, Dad, I want a camera for Christmas. Please, can I get a camera for Christmas? My parents, I distinctly remember it was the best Christmas of my life. I got a camera and I started just taking photos of flowers in my yard and I just could not stop taking photos. And then kind of grew up, middle school, I would ask my friends if I could take photos of them. I eventually got a little bit better of a camera, started taking my friends' photos for prom, things like that. And then when high school came, people started asking me, hey, I'll give you $50 if you take my senior pics. And I'm like, okay, sure, I'll do it. And then that kind of and then other people saw my pictures and they're like, hey, can you do my engagement photos? I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't know if I can, but okay, I'll try. And then I did. And it kind of just went from there. And then COVID, I came back from college to home. And then I had some local small businesses starting to ask me, hey, can you take a picture of my stuff? And I'm like, sure, I'll try. And, I just kept going with it. But I think my favorite thing is working with brands. Brands that give me the freedom to just create something beautiful and be able to present their product in a beautiful way. But yeah, so it started when I was 8. And
Wow.
I don't know, I just couldn't stop.
I think you're being humble about it. I mean, your work has appeared in Sports Illustrated, from what I understand. I mean, and Honolulu Magazine, and you've documented history when it comes to someone's special day, and that is a gift when that you have. Storytelling, a wedding is a story, and you capturing that day for someone, a lot of pressure, a lot of responsibility with that, but something you embrace.
Yeah, totally. I remember my first few weddings feeling incredibly nervous just because I'm like, okay, these people are trusting me. And if I miss that big kiss shot, it's over, right? And so, but then I remember sometimes when I'm filming or I'm taking photos of the first dance, I start crying behind the camera because I'm like, how lucky am I to be a part of this moment that is so special? I get to capture it. So it's just been a huge blessing in my life to be able to take photos of people at the most special times of their life, or just to be able to capture even the people that I love in a special way. It's been awesome. I'm so thankful.
I love that. In many ways, you are a storyteller. And with storytelling comes responsibility, comes creativity, and all of the things that come with being a creative person. Do you see yourself as a storyteller?
Actually, I never thought of myself as a storyteller until I started working for Center for Tomorrow's Leaders, because now I kind of help out with marketing. And I realized one day, wow, the story of this organization is so compelling, and I just want to be able to tell their story. And so I remember I was in a marketing meeting with my team and we're like, it's really just about storytelling. How can we tell our story to people and show them the sacrifice and just the amazing work that we do? Because truly, it's an amazing story. So I think working for CTL has helped me to see myself as a storyteller. But before that, with photography, I actually never really thought of myself
Interesting.
Yeah,
you're telling that person, or whether a couple's story through the lens of a camera. Now you're telling or helping empowering young voices to be heard, and we need to do that. Our young leaders can be so influential. They can have such great impact. They are our future, and mentoring is so important. I mean, no matter what you do, no matter what industry you're in, but for you and your colleagues, that must be really a special feeling, knowing that people are coming to you to learn just who to be, what to be, and how much of an impact they can have on community and in our islands.
Yeah, totally. I think my favorite part about Center for Tomorrow's Leaders is that they're not just trying to build up the students that are already in leadership. They're not trying to take those kids that are in student government. I mean, nothing wrong with student government at all, right? That's great that those kids are involved, right? But we're trying to reach those kids that would never see themselves as a leader before. Those kids that, they never even thought that they could. Mm-hmm. And that's the kind of student that we're trying to reach. And that, to me, is the most compelling thing about our organization is that it doesn't matter who you are, you can do it. Just love Hawaii. Just put your love for Hawaii into action and let's make this place better.
How would you define leader? That word leader. And are leaders born or you can grow into leadership?
Yeah, so I think, that's actually crazy that you say that because we have a lesson, our second lesson. So we go into, if you didn't know already, we go into classes once a week. So I see my students once a week. We go into either AVID program or entrepreneurship program. So on our second lesson, the students, it's a new year, we ask them, are leaders born or made? And we have them go to one side of the classroom if they think leaders are born and the other if they think leaders are made. And a lot of them go to the made side. Nobody goes to the born side. Then I make the argument, well, what about if you're born into royalty, right? You're born into leadership, right? So you can be born into leadership. And then I tell them, you know what? Miss Megan was being a little bit mean. I didn't let you guys actually stand in the middle, but I believe that leaders are both born and made. Because yes, you can be born into a position of leadership. You can be born into royalty and that happens, right? But, anybody can also become a leader. And so then we ask them, if anybody can become a leader, why aren't there more leaders? And they're like, oh, I don't know. I don't know, miss.
It's a pretty heavy question.
Yeah. And they're like, maybe because they don't want to do the work. And I'm like, yeah. Or maybe because they're scared of what people might think of them. Or maybe because they don't believe in themselves, right? There's a lot of different reasons why not. But anybody can do it if they really want to. Mm-hmm. But I think that it's just that it takes a lot of sacrifice. And at the end of the day, it's not about you. And I think that's the hard thing is that people think that leadership, it's all about you, right? You're on camera. That's totally not it. I think good leaders, they make it about everyone else.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fascinating. Didn't know about your lesson plans. So definitely not a staged question, but thank you for explaining that because I do believe it is something that can be learned. Unfortunately, society sometimes defines leadership for us, right? Somebody who is strong or somebody who's vocal. But some of your most efficient and effective leaders are not the vocal ones. They lead by example, all that cliches. But I do believe people can learn to become leaders once they understand what that means. And leaders can come in all different forms. That's why I really embrace your mission at CTL, because you don't know who the next leader will be. It may be the quietest person in the group or the most apparent timid one. They just need to find that voice, and you folks help do that. I mean, that's heavy. That's a cool job. It's not a job. It's life that you folks are helping and touching. And I applaud all of you in that role. What made you go there? I mean, let's put it this way. I mean, you had your profession. You could have just kept on going. What called you to CTL and said, no, I want to do this right now. This is an important time for me to do this, and I want to do it.
Yeah. I think the story of CTL just really compels me. And so I had a roommate, and she had gone through one of the programs, a fellows program, and she's just a wonderful person, a wonderful leader. And so I kind of knew about CTL, but I didn't really know what the heart was, the mission. And then somebody else was just talking about it to me one day. And I just thought to myself, man, I wonder if they're hiring. I don't know why. Well, I had wanted to move to Oahu. And something about the mission, I was like, dang, that is incredible. And so I looked at their website. And even when I was looking at our website, I was thinking, this is so cool. Mm-hmm. I have always been passionate about mentorship. And in college, I had a couple leadership positions where I got to mentor some younger individuals. And to me, that was the most fulfilling and rewarding thing I've ever done. So thinking back to that, I kind of thought to myself, and I've always been passionate about that high school age because I actually had a hard time in high school. I found it really hard to really find my place, find my voice, and just all of that was just so hard for me. And I was going through stuff outside of school as well. And so if I could be that person that could walk with someone through high school and actually like mentor them and show them that they can be anything that they want to be, I'm going to do that. So, so once I heard about it, I emailed Katie because I just found her email and I said, hi, I don't know if you guys are hiring, but here's my resume. And it turns out they were looking for one more person, and they had been looking all summer, and they were just trying to find somebody who had a heart for the kids. And it was the perfect fit. We met, and well, I hope it was the perfect fit, but I made it this far, so I think it was. We met, and I just hit it off with the team. And from then on, it's been a great ride.
Serendipity. It was meant to be. It really was. I understand what you're talking about when you talk about mentoring. When I look back at my life, now that I'm kupuna status, one of my biggest, I hope, part of my, because you want to think about legacy. What are you leaving behind for the next generation? I look back at my career in journalism, and some of my most fulfilling moments wasn't about breaking stories or, challenging government. It was about mentoring young reporters, and whether it be just teaching them about, comfort on the air or style of reading, or, hey, maybe you want to try and ask the question this way, or even helping them negotiate their contracts, what to say, what not to say, how to prepare for that. Those are some of the best memories and most fulfilling ones that I have as I look back at what I've done. So what you're doing now and experiencing at your young age already, that's the stuff that you're going to remember. And they'll look back and say, oh, Miss Maggie, she was cool, and she helped me find my voice, and I applaud that. Again, like I said, not everybody can do that. I mean, not everybody wants to sign up and raise their hand to do that. So good on you. And I always want to know what made you do that, So if somebody is thrust into this role that you have been, or what called you there, why did you finally say yes? And when your explanation made a lot of sense.
Yeah, and I will say it's hard. It is hard work. I mean, you don't know what anybody who's ever taught knows that being a teacher is one of the hardest jobs in the world. And nonprofit work is hard, right? It's not easy, but at the end of the day, like you said, it's the most rewarding thing ever to do something that's bigger than yourself. And I think a lot of younger people they haven't tapped into that yet. They're not sure what giving back could do for them, actually, and how rewarding it could be. But CTL has taught me so much. It's grown me so much as an individual, and I'm just so thankful for this organization in my life, even just how much that it's taught me and how much I've grown.
I worked a little bit with Katie and just talking to her early in my journey here, and super impressed by the young leaders that she provided us access to, if you will, and they've been a part of our programs, whether it be on Hikino or our Kako town hall meetings. Very articulate, obviously, some of them very polished speakers, but they didn't all born that way. It took a lot of mentoring and coaching, maybe even. And some of it is DNA, but I really do believe the mentor part of it all has a huge impact on their confidence and how they present themselves. And so it was super impressive to watch these youngsters talk and I go, my gosh, where was I at that age? I wasn't like that. I definitely didn't have that kind of confidence, let alone purpose.
Yeah, totally. And so we go through 3 years. So we start with them as sophomores. We have a year 1 curriculum, and then we have year 2 and year 3. And then we also stay with them throughout college and beyond. We have a alumni program called Vanguard. So we have a yearly event where they can come and kind of network with each other. And it's really amazing how it's not just an organization that's like, okay, we're going to teach you all we can in high school and then bye, good luck, right? It's, no, we're here for you for life. If you're a part of CTL, you're a lifer. And we're gonna take care of you. We're gonna be your mentor forever. We're gonna be your friend. And so that's also another really great thing. But year 1, they focus on character. So the lessons, the curriculum is really focused on who are you in here. And then year 2, it goes a little bit deeper into, okay, how do we work on a team? How do you actually lead a team? Because leadership is working with other people. Mm-hmm. Then year 3, it's really critical thinking. So roundtable discussions and things like that. So that's how our ambassadors program kind of flows and works. And then we also have a fellows program. So that's about 20 elite seniors from schools all over Hawaii. So it doesn't have to be public schools or private school. We have students from Punahou. We have students from Campbell. We've even had a Waiakea student. It's the only outer island student we've had for that program. But yeah, so lots of good stuff.
Yeah, I've seen the reach that you folks have, and the alumni association part is so important too. It's kind of like what we're trying to do here at PBS Hawaii with our Hiki No program. You know, we help them become students of not just journalism students or storytellers, but really just a whole round like you folks do. But when they graduate and move on to college, we can't just say bye, because we knew we've had an impact on them. And when we talk to them, the alumni, they say, I wouldn't be where I am today if it weren't for. And that's when you know you've left an impact. And I'm sure that's what you folks hear all the time from your young leaders who've gone through the process in the program. And, you know, through the years, since 2003, that's a lot of lives you folks have touched. Yeah?
Yeah.
That's cool. That's very cool. So how do you keep your sanity? I mean, you know, traveling back and forth to Hawaii Island has got to be exhausting some way, but do you reach for that camera? I mean, what do you do to balance life?
Yeah, I'd say actually my rest time is very much just with my family and friends, and just kind of chilling at the beach. I actually think that now, sadly, because photography is my work, I'm starting to kind of view it more as work too. So it's still my passion, and I want to get back to actually just shooting just to shoot and just to take a picture just to take a picture. But yeah, my time relaxing is just really just going to the beach, being with the people I love. Because yeah, it's a hard job, but it's so worth it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm so grateful for young adults who understand that, how important that is to building our next generation and setting them up for success. Because so many of our kids get lost.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you've seen it, you know, whether it be in Hilo or right here in Honolulu. You know, so many of our kids get lost. And it has nothing to do with the school you attend or you know, what kind of financial background. Even the most affluent families get lost. Mm-hmm. So having that mentor is huge in someone's life.
Yeah. I think about how great it would be if I were in CTL in high school and how much I would have benefited from it. And so that is also a driver for me of how can I provide this for my students and the students of Big Island, that there's not as much opportunity on the Big Island. Now that I've moved to Oahu, I see that, wow, there's opportunity left and right here. But our outer island kids, I'm so thankful that CTL is on the outer islands because they need some love.
Right on. Everybody needs love. Everybody needs love. I look back at people who have impacted my life, not just in the professional side, but I look back, it's teachers. It's the teachers who believed in me when I didn't. I had a really bad speech issue when I was growing up. Spoke terrible, heavy pidgin where people couldn't expect. And I went through speech therapy. And who would have thunk that all these years later I would speak for a living? And I was like an anxiety, but that's a whole different story. But I was full of anxiety growing up, just being a speaker because I was such a misfit when it came to communication. And then now here I am, I'm communicating. And you never know. You never know what your mentorship will help a child develop into.
Wow, that is so awesome. Yeah. And your story is so powerful, and you can use that to mentor.
Absolutely.
Other individuals too who might be struggling with the same thing.
Yeah, yours as well. You guys are doing great work up there. And it starts somewhere. Some of it, like I said, is family, values instilling in you. But I still think at the end of the day, it's the person who's motivated, driven, and maybe given the right to push. And somebody pushed you in the right direction.
Totally. And I'm so thankful for all of it.
Well,
I ended up here.
Yeah, thank you for pushing the next generation as well. I wish you continued success. Thanks for stopping by.
Thank you, Ron.
What a cool story you have shared. And you never know what that Christmas gift is going to end up, the path that it'll give you.
Right. And now I get to use it for CTL and take photos of the students. So it's all full circle.
Very cool. CTL, go check them out. The Center for Tomorrow's Leaders, impacting, engaging, and empowering our young leaders for tomorrow. Very cool. Mahalo nui for joining us, folks. Join us next week, another episode of What School You Went. Until then, ahoy ho.
What School You Went is a PBS Hawaii production. Music by Taimane Gardner. If you enjoyed this episode, let us know on Facebook, Instagram, and tell your friends. You can find us on pbshawaii.org and everywhere you get your podcasts.